Uncle Kwesi Prat raw on prophecies any posts concerning NPP Primaries. Posts are abetodja. Prophecies are abetodja. Now our questions edema a posters no. A hefa no mo konya delegates no. Eko busa omo questions. Emo mujiji no. Because ono ankasa. What was there busa delegates no one say no finding it difficult to get a delegates no. Wati hu komo ebuso mo honsem NPP Primaries in Kennnedy Acompreco Japan and Dr. Bawumia who to lead the party the most likely candidate Kwesi Prat acheche nsemu prophecies are amanfo enso ade abeto mountain prophecy there bebrega prophecy there bebre kwa buburuja omotoso omadi nkomo yeti uncle Kwesi Prat enkoma wodi about NPP Primaries Saturday 31st January.
Uncle Z.
Well, Master, if you're talking about the last few years, there's no doubt at all that Global Info Analytics has been the most credible polling agency as far as our elections are concerned. So people tend to take, whatever projections they make far more seriously. Now, 2 weeks ago or thereabout, I read a report which said that nobody had crossed the finishing line, which suggested very, very strongly that there was going to be a second round in the elections. Now, last week, I then saw another report which gave Dr. Bawumia 57%, which suggests that there will be an outright victory. I've seen other polling results, such as the one that you read, which indicate that Kennnedy could win with up to about 52%. And I've seen others. There are even some suggesting that Brian Champon could also become the flag bearer of the new patriotic party. I have just one simple question. All of these posters claim to be polling delegates. Where do they find the delegates? Because I've spoken to persons from the different campaigns, and we're having difficulty getting the final list of delegates. In fact, I'll mention a name. I spoke to Dr. Kwesi, who is working for the Brian campaign, who actually told me that as of last week, we were looking for the telephone numbers of delegates. And as of last week, they had not even been able to assemble 100 telephone numbers. You can call him.
The former Nyasoton guy.
Exactly.
Really?
Okay. So if this is the situation where the contestants actually can't even reach delegates, so all these figures, where are they coming from? Now, the second part for me is that I've been observing these elections at least from 1992. And I know of situations where significant changes have occurred on the Congress floor. And Titus is here, you would admit. Well, the favorite candidate goes to Congress. Favorite candidate, everybody's favorite goes to Congress. And on the Congress floor, 1, 2, or 3 things happened, and there's an upset within hours. It happens. I remember in particular the contest between Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo and President Kufuor. We could not believe what happened. In the twinkle of an eye, Akufo-Addo, the favorite candidate, was reeling. President Kufuor overtook him on Congress floor. That's a fact. Okay? So when I hear these figures, I take them with the benefit of my experience. So the figures are interesting, they are fine. Global Info Analytics is the most credible polling agency so far, and so on. But there are all of these questions deserving to be answered.
Enti Kwesi Prat ni analysis na just wo ye e wo ho odi nkomo e kire NPP primaries no se ne ono ankasa ti esia observe from afar se ne wo si ehu no who to lead NPP.
There are few things that have also happened in this campaign which have never happened in our politics. Never happened in our politics. Okay. In a matter of 1 week, 2 books have been written and launched about Kennnedy, Akompreku, Japan. It's never happened before. Indeed, last Monday, I was at the launch of the last book. I think the title is The Builder-in-Chief, Kennnedy, Japan, something. I was there. It's never happened. That is interesting. In fact, I've not been able to read both books. I've read one. I've read the last one, which was launched on Monday. I've read it. And the scholarship is interesting. You should read it. I mean, the guy who wrote the book has very flowery language.
Okay.
He has a good sense of geography and purpose and so on. It's so well done, you know. But this is a new development in our politics, you know, where contestants, actually in the primaries, think that their biographies need to be published. And the last book I'm talking about is a 400-page book. 400-page book. You should see the quality of the book and so on. So that's something which is interesting. Now, let me talk a little bit more about this book launch. As at this book launch, I didn't stay for long. I left. For good reason, I left. So when it came to auctioning the book, the people buying the book were delegates.
How do you know?
The chairman of the South African branch was there. I think he bought the first copy. The secretary of the South African branch, who is also a delegate, was also there. They were announced aside. They were announced there, you know.
Oh, okay.
And somebody bought a copy of the book for $10,000. Does that say something? Yes.
I see.
You know. So this is going to be interesting. Exceedingly interesting. Now, if you take the polls which say that there's bound to be a second round, what does that tell you? What that tells you straight away is that ultimately Brian Achampong is going to be the kingmaker. Most of the polls I've seen place him third.
Yes.
So he appears, from what the polls are saying, not me, what the polls are saying, he appears to have enough votes to become the decider if there's a second round. So he becomes a very important person in this, you know, primary, this election. There are a few polls which are suggesting that he's on the rise and that within the last 3 weeks he's made substantial gains. Now, if you look at the trajectory, it does appear that those polls are suggesting that he could place second. If the trend continues for the next few days, every day he's improving. That's what the trend suggests. I'm not saying that I believe the prediction, okay? But if that prediction is true and he falls into second place, then Kennnedy Akompreku becomes the kingmaker. Because he will then have enough votes to decide who wins.
That is that from a uncle Kwesi Prat. Nem come on, wabedi. Ewo honum. Aha, Dowona TV. Chawadem. Comment section.